Welcome into the Pats Nation. I'm Corso. Catone is here. Joe's with us in the booth. You are watching us on YouTube. And when you're on YouTube, make sure you subscribe. Give us that thumbs up. Like the show. Leave us a comment. We always appreciate that. And if you are listening to us, you're doing it on iHeartRadio, Apple Podcast, anywhere you podcast. And, of course, you can email us on our mailbag, corso.catone@gmail.com, or give us a call on Heated Hotline, 855-313-PATS, P-A-T-S. It's a message line. Leave a message 24/7. Joe will pick. We haven't had one in a long time. Joe, next week we got to pick one. I don't care.
Yeah, we have to pick one next week.
I don't care how much they swear, okay? How much you got to try to keep it clean out there, people, so Joe doesn't have to do edit that thing for 20 minutes,
Oh, my God.
beforehand. But so give us a call on Heated Hotline or email us in our mailbag. Got a good one today. We got Drake Mania. We're going to talk about Drake Maye, see if he can keep this thing going against the Atlanta Falcons today, and talk about how we're going to do that. And, of course, in Pat's preview, we're going to have our offensive and defensive keys to victory. Going to go into the coaching room and Coach's Corner, talk about how Vrabel's putting this thing together. We talked about that yesterday on Corso and Catone. How are we keeping this thing together with all the mistakes we're seeing out there? We'll talk about it, and we're going to make you some money in Sunday Spread. I hope you all bet that Buffalo game last week. Like we told you to.
Wasn't that a gift, Chris? That was such a gift.
Well, I hope the people out there paid attention and did that. But if you didn't, shame on you. Make sure you're listening to us today. But good morning. Hi, guys. How we doing?
Oh, another
Happy
nice day.
Sunday.
Happy Sunday. We're in first place. We're 6-2.
6-2. Nice, huh?
We got the Chiefs and the Bills this week. We might have to. Do I dare say we root for the Chiefs? Because we want to win the division.
How about a tie?
Well, maybe that's the best thing, right? A tie.
Can we root for a tie? Because these teams. But we have our own thing. We have our own game to worry about and concern ourselves with, and that, of course, is the Atlanta Falcons coming in. Now they're banged up, and we're going to talk about it. But this is a game I'm concerned about. We're going to discuss it.
Well, it's a game time decision, Chris, on whether Penix plays or not. Kirk Cousins last week looked like he was 145 years old. So if Kirk Cousins is quarterback, and I'm a little more confident than if Penix is playing.
Yeah. Well, I think we need to talk about our quarterback, our MVP candidate quarterback. We're going to do, of course, Drake Maye. We're going to do it in Drake Mania, and we're going to do it right now.
Impressed by today was Drake Maye's ability when things weren't going great, and you sort of knew he was going to encounter that today, whether that was Myles Garrett and his ear hole or the interception that he threw. He also had a fumble that, he just sort of kept going and didn't lose his head, stayed even keel, made plays when they were there, had a spectacular third quarter.
So that, of course, was Greg Bedard talking about Drake Maye, and others are liking him, including his teammates.
Moment where touchdown, throw the ball in the end zone, Drake's getting the MVP chant, the whole place is going crazy. Did you see that as a special moment in the game, or any other moment that, wow, it's really gelling here? Any one moment that stands out, or is that it?
I think we've been on the road the past month, so I think it feels good to be back at home too, scoring a touchdown, like you said, throwing the ball, then the MVP chance. I was joking with him last week about MVP too. He don't like to hear it, but I think it's the truth, but I think just we got to keep it going, halfway through the season, we just honestly getting started. So
why? Like, what do you see?
Just say hard work. Y'all all see what I see. We all see it,
You see it? I see it.
If you look around the league at the other guys, too, they doing great stuff, too. But, I think Drake doing everything they doing. It's not nothing that he's not doing. And I think at the end of the day, we just playing football. We having fun with it, too, so.
That was Keyshawn Booty talking about his quarterback, Drake Maye, and, of course, Greg Bedard of the Boston Sports Journal. So, Mark. Yeah, we covered it yesterday on Corso and Catone, how he got out of the, he had a so-so first half, 10 of 16, I think he was last week, and threw the pick, had the drop, had a fumble. They didn't lose the fumble, but they had the fumble.
Yeah.
And then he overcame those 5-6 sacks against them with the help of McDaniels and had a third quarter for the ages. I mean, he was, spectacular in that third quarter. He was perfect in the second half. So is this, because I want to talk about today, because this is it's a better man coverage team than Cleveland was, and Cleveland's pretty good. Cleveland was 13th in the league, and this team's 7th. This Atlanta Falcons team. Obviously we're now halfway through the season. So we can't say, well, this is just an aberration. I mean, this is what this kid is. Am I wrong?
No, this is what he is. At this point, Chris, this is what he is. He's developed into this. Yeah, 100%. 100%.
And what is this that you see?
I see someone, Chris, who has he has an absolute grasp of what McDaniels is asking him to do, of the playbook. Everybody talked about how difficult this New England playbook is, dating back to Brady and this and that. And listen, this kid's able to understand it, consume it, adjust on the fly, because we're changing schemes at halftime and making adjustments. And you brought up the third quarter a couple of minutes ago. Well, that was an adjustment that was made midway through. He went with it and ran with it and had a great third quarter, Chris. So what Josh is doing with him now, maybe he didn't do it the first couple of weeks, but back in the Brady days, Chris, the game planning from week to week, it changed based on your opponent. A lot of teams don't do that because it's very difficult. McDaniels always has done that, and Drake is now grasping it and is able to do it, Chris. You want to always put up MVP numbers, well, but it's not in the simplistic offense.
The play caller?
The play caller, who's not getting enough love, we don't think, from Vrabel, but we're going to
talk about that later on the show.
Chris, he's going through progressions. I think you said earlier on the show yesterday, you said he hit 7 different receivers.
Yeah, 7 guys again last week.
7 guys. He's going through, and that tells you, Chris, he's going through progressions. He's not just looking at someone going through a check. He's going through his progressions. He's understanding what's available, what's there, what coverage they're in. What is he going to back them out of? What is he going to audible? What is he going to change at the line of scrimmage? He's doing all of that, Chris.
Yeah.
And I don't know if he is getting credit nationally. I don't know if he's getting enough credit locally for that.
Well, I don't know. I don't know if he's getting enough. This is what Vrabel sounds like when he's talking about him.
Drake was sacked 6 times today, but still finishes with 280 and 3 touchdowns. Just how impressed were you with his resolve as this game went on?
Well, everybody's resolve.
Everybody's.
Again, would like to have the sacks, but again, we got to get the ball out on time and understand who it is that we're dealing with. And but I don't think that as long as we're keeping them clean and not some vicious hits. We have to be able to be better in that regard, but I think when we give them time to throw, it's pretty good, and it's good to see us hit a couple X plays, and but we knew that it was going to be a challenge with this front, and then the way that they played, and certainly with Myles Garrett and committing 2 people to him, and him still affecting the quarterback is obviously impressive.
And that, of course, was Mike Vrabel. And I'm making a note here because I want to bring something up in coaches. And when we get to Coach's Corner, I want to discuss that he mentions there. But, yeah, he's never really, he's not going to throw flowers to his quarterback. And maybe that's what you're getting at about the local stuff. You're talking about the coach. Yeah. And I guess maybe that's strategic. Maybe that's calculated. That I don't want to get this kid beaming through his head and drinking his own, drinking the Kool-Aid, keep him grounded, I guess. Although this kid seems pretty grounded.
So listen, Chris, there was a thing on this week. It was Stephen A. Smith, Cam Newton, and they were with Damian Woody and a girl, I don't know who the set. and they were talking about.
It was Cam Newton wearing one of those cool fly hats. So is that
Yeah,
still
he was
a word
wearing. He was
people
wearing a
use?
hat.
Fly.
He was wearing a hat. I don't know if it's fly, but it was a hat. What the hell do I know, right? But they were talking about the AFC East and who's the best team in the AFC East. And Damian Woody said Patriots, and he said because he talked about because of Drake Maye and what they're doing, and he said, in my opinion, Drake Maye might throw the best deep ball in the NFL right now.
Yeah, I don't disagree with that.
And Cam Newton went ballistic. What are you talking about? You a liar. You a liar. Right?
Well, who's he think is? Is Aaron Rodgers still?
He basically didn't tell us who he thought it was. What he did say was, there's no way you can pick New England to win that division over Buffalo. And oh, by the way, Josh Allen is still there. Didn't say Josh Allen to a better deep ball.
Well, because he doesn't.
He doesn't. So I don't know if that's what he was trying to get at, but he didn't mention who did, but he said it wasn't Drake. So I you know how Cam Newton is, right?
So it's basically useless.
Yeah, and Stephen A. though basically said no. He still agrees with it's Buffalo. But I was at the game Sunday, Chris. The reason I bring this up, let me tell you something. The ball he threw the booty. To watch it live, Chris, man, he dropped it. He throws a hell of a deep ball. Let me tell you something, Chris. He hugs the ceiling. It's just the touch, the over the top. He threw, Chris. That was a hell of a throw. To watch it live, I don't know what you could see on TV. That was Chris. It was a hell of a pass. Let me tell you something.
He is, and I do. I think he does throw the best deep ball in football right now. I mean, I would have said Aaron Rodgers, and maybe Aaron Rodgers still does. But I agree with that. I mean, he drops into the basket every time. A couple of things I will say. On the other side of it, criticisms. So if you want to nitpick on Drake Maye, some of those sacks last week were on him. Some of those sacks.
And I think that's what Vrabel's getting at when Vrabel says about
got to get the ball out.
Got to get the ball out, knowing who you're up against, right?
Knowing
Garrett's going to get there, right?
Yeah. Well, I think he was alluding to the fact that there were more than a couple of times where Maye's holding on to that ball. And again, to me, it's a talent issue on the outside. For as much as Booty is catching these balls downfield, I can't imagine.
It's definitely a talent issue. Chris, there was a time in that
imagine what he would be like with a true number one guy to get separation and get downfield. So when I watch him read these progressions, I am seeing sometimes in the first half of this game, I saw him looking at half the field, and then I saw him take off. The second half of that game, I saw him read a little bit better, but I think he was with the assistance of his OC. So, I mean, there are things in his game that he can improve on and should and will, and he will. But no, I don't think there's much he can't do. Go ahead.
Yeah. No, there were times in the game, Chris, especially in the first half, the receivers couldn't get free.
Yeah.
You're not playing with. I mean, I know everyone keeps saying, their receivers are, having a good year. Chris, the receivers are still not, they played better in the second half, to your point, because Josh, I think, schemed them open, right? Yeah. They weren't getting open in that first half, Chris. They couldn't get separation.
The play caller.
So
Vrabel's alluding to the fact where you got to get the ball out, but who you getting it out to? There's nobody open.
Well, I think there were a couple of times. Yeah, I mean, a couple of times he takes the sack, and I think he should take the sack in a couple of those occasions, rather than force something. So I see maturity there. Okay, where we don't like it, we don't want to see that, but again, you cannot deny there's still a lack of talent on the offensive side of the ball in the wide receiver room. There is. It is. It's not. Look, these guys are still, they're playing good, but they're not top flight receivers in this league. They're just not any. Diggs is not. If Diggs were a top flight receiver, that little slant he caught on the goal line would have been a touchdown. And he wouldn't have had to go to the next play where you got to pick, basically a pick from Hollins to get yourself in the next time. Right?
Yeah. No, absolutely.
So today, what will we have to see? More of the same. I mean, I'd like to see him get the ball a little quicker. I don't, again, this team, Atlanta has the 7th ranked man coverage. They got good corners. They got guys that can play in man. So I don't know if you're going to see as much separation again like last week. So, there's going to have to be some scheming and things done there to get that, to have that happen. But I like what he's doing in setting protections. I like what he's doing in changing plays. I love how he climbs the pocket, and delivers the ball. And again, I love everything about how he's playing right now. But there is still a lot of room for improvement, which is scary. So, and we'll end the segment on this. Players with 200 plus, I said this yesterday, players with 200 plus passing yards and 100 plus QB rating in 7 straight games. Peyton Manning in 2004, Brady in 2007, Mahomes in 2018, Rodgers in 2020 and 2011, and now Drake Maye this year so far. Every one of those guys won the MVP that year. Just saying.
Okay.
All
right.
Just saying. So Drake Mania was presented by Corso and Catone, the real deal New England feel. Saturdays, noon Eastern. Make sure you're tuning in. Next week, we're going to have this full breakdown of the Falcons game and the post game of all of that. And of course, Catone's comments, B's and C's, and anything else you bring. So make sure you tune into that. But when we come back, going to go into Pat's preview, talk offensive, defensive keys to victory, and so much more. No flipping.
Guess what? I got a fever. And the only prescription is more
Corso and Catone. Saturdays at noon.
Back in with more Pat's Nation. All right, guys, let's talk about this game today. Let's see what we got to do to win the game. Let's do it in Pat's preview. Joe?
Pat's preview.
All right, so we beat the Drake Maye train to death. Let's talk now about the rest of the offense, Mark, okay? This game, because, again, this is one of those teams that not a lot of people know a lot about, okay, nope. The Atlanta Falcons. And when we talk about the defense, I'm going to talk about some of the things I'm really kind of nervous about in this game, Yep. But now on the offensive side of the ball, obviously Campbell, can breathe a little bit of a sigh of relief this week, where we're not going to be seeing guys we're not even be seeing close to a guy like Garrett this week.
No.
Okay. So
I want to say this. I got to jump in because I bit my tongue last episode, of course, with Catone. You guys gave Campbell.
Don't bite your tongue. That hurts, man.
It does. It really does. And then and Garrett, whatever. I don't care. I think you gave Campbell a little bit of a pass. I get it, but he's got to do more than one shove, and then that's it. He's got to keep up with the player. I know who he's up against, but it wasn't only him. And that's the thing. I felt he was like, I'm like, this guy's got to do more than one shove, and that's his whole game.
The tough audience here, Mark.
Yeah, I was watching him. I wasn't impressed at what he was doing, regardless.
So Joe, I will say this. Garrett also went to the other side and did the same thing on the other side.
Yeah, I know.
On the opposite side.
Matter.
And then
and I'm going to be honest with you, Garrett just missed 2 more sacks where May got rid of the ball just before Garrett was about to hit him. Garrett conceivably almost had 7 sacks that I counted as I was watching. And then I went back and watched it again, and I'm like, oh, shit, yeah, he could. That was pretty, May, that was good, quick thinking, because May would have had 2, they would have had 2 more sacks. Garrett would have had 7, Chris.
The reason, Joe, I understand what you're saying. And
I get it, Joe.
I will give some credence to what we've been saying. We said this yesterday on the show a little bit. We talked about this. Listen, can Campbell play better all around, all season long? Absolutely. Look, this kid is not going to be a top tackle in this league. So anybody out there who thinks he's ever going to live up to the 4th pick in the draft, he's not. Not unless you kick him into guard. He's not going to do it. He will be a middle-of-the-road left tackle, which I guess is fine. I guess. I'd rather have the trade and Ibuka on this team, with a tackle taken in the top of the 2nd round, I guess. But this is who we have. So where I give him a pass a little bit is what we talked about when we discussed his short arms and, all that stuff coming in and when he was drafted and discussing it over the summer. we talked about the fact that you're going to have to give him help. I think the help was a hindrance. I really do think that there were aspects to the help he got that were hindering him in this game against Garrett and anyone else because look, in the first half of this game, 11 matchups, okay, Garrett had 5 pressures and 3 sacks against Campbell, okay, but Campbell's numbers against everyone else were great, were basically perfect. And I think when you try to help a tackle, and we talked about this yesterday, when you try to help with chip blocks and you bring your running back over to chip them and jump, it's too inconsistent. There's no flow to it. The tackle is setting up. He's kicking out. There's a rhythm to it. And when you just go and chip block on somebody like that, you don't know where the back's going to be. You don't know if he's going to be hip to hip with you, if there's going to be 2 yards separating you two, which creates a bigger gap for Garrett to reset himself. How far away is that chip happening? Now I have to reset while Garrett resets, and he's just too damn good to do that. So sometimes those chip blocks, Skarnecki always talked about this. Sometimes those chip blocks are death to a left tackle or a tackle. You'd rather see the tight end stay in. So, I get what you're saying, Joe. But that's the reason I'm kind of giving him a pass on this. Now, if this happens this week, I'll be the first one to rip his ass apart. Mark, I mean, you agree with that?
No, I agree with that. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, because this team has no edge rusher like Garrett. I'm sorry. Yeah.
So, so with the offensive line, I think we should see a better, cleaner pocket. And when we go in Coach's Corner, we'll talk a little bit about the job McDaniels did and how, he did an excellent job in figuring out when was Garrett going to be off the field. And that was when the booty touchdown happened.
Yeah.
That's when he had a clean pocket. That's when he dialed that thing up.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so
he did.
So there's got a lot of help. But talking about the keys to victory, Mark, what do you see this week?
Well, I'll tell you what, Chris. So this team, Chris, the Falcons will blitz. They do try to bring pressure, Chris. Yeah. They're aggressive. Their front seven is aggressive. So I think Drake is going to have to be aggressive in the fact that he's going to have to understand you're going to have to get rid of the ball, Chris. You can't hold on because they will bring pressure. I think you, Chris, you could make some hay this week with if Drake, some split screens with Henderson. I think you could get the slip screens with Henderson. I think get him in space, Chris. I think that'll be there. And I'm going to be honest with you. I do think you will be able to beat this defense in the middle of the field. So I think Hunter Henry will have a good game this week. I think you may see Hollins and Douglas in the seam catch more balls this week. I think that is the weakness of this Falcons defense, Chris. And I do think you can run the ball against them. But Drake is going to have to be decisive, Chris. Make quick decisions and like he's been doing. But I do think you mentioned their corners and the type of defense that they play on the edges. But I do think you can beat them in the middle of the field. I think you can run the ball against them, Chris. And I think you can use their aggressiveness in their front seven against them.
They're a team that allowed 141 yards rushing against Miami.
Yeah, you can run the ball against them.
And 179 against San Fran the week before.
Yeah.
So, I mean, listen, I understand Penix was out last week. I understand London was out last week, but they don't play on defense. And so you allowed Miami, that trash bag team, to beat your ass down. And you're gonna allow Miami to run for 141 yards in this game? Yeah. I mean, that's so that's music to my ears. That's music to Drake Maye's ears and the offensive line. Because I agree with you. One of the keys is going to have to be to run the ball. And I liked what McDaniels did about getting Henderson out to the edge, because he runs the contact. So we're avoiding that right now. And the other thing too is, like I talked about, they're seventh against the pass in the league, whereas Cleveland was the number 1 defense in football, but they were only 13. So they do play a lot of zone though, also Atlanta. So to your point,
They do. They do.
okay, they disguise things pretty well. Okay, and the games that I've watched, I've seen some nice disguising on that defensive side of the ball, where it's hard to tell. So Maye's going to have to be sharp in that area. But to your point, yeah, they should be able to hit passes in the middle of the field, because if they're playing a lot of zone, it's going to be incumbent upon our receivers. And let's see what Douglas has in him this week. I mean, if he's active every week, you won't play Chisholm, you won't put him on the damn field for his route running ability. Well,
I think Chisholm, Chris, next year everybody's going to say, well, Jesus, why didn't he play last year?
Right.
Because I think you'll see Douglas gone in the offseason. I think you'll see more and more of Chisholm. Next year will be Chisholm's breakout year. But for whatever reason this year, Chris, they're not. They're going to go with Douglas. So like you said, Douglas is going to have to show up.
and in this game where there's going to be a lot of spaces in the field to find, a lot of holes, this is the kind of game where Douglas can find the spaces, find the holes, sit down. And you know who else can have a big game this week? And I think he's due and needs to, is Diggs. I think Stephon Diggs.
Scheming to take him out, though, Chris, after that Buffalo game, right?
Yeah, but McDaniels is pretty good at scheming to get him in. And I think that when you play a team that runs a lot of zone, okay, like they do, I think Diggs should with his experience, he should be able to find some spaces in there to sit down.
Yeah.
But I agree with you with the tight ends too. Tight ends should have a big game. And what I love about what the Patriots have been doing lately is they're incorporating their receivers more so than the tight ends. You and I hate the 12 personnel, although they come out in it every week. That's but it isn't just check down, tight end. It is receivers. He's throwing to receivers. So these are the big boy throws. This is the big boy football stuff where can we find things in the middle of the field? Like Brady said, you see cover 2, rip the seam. Yeah. Let's get Douglas in that seam. Let's get Henry. We'll see. The problem is Henry's just too damn slow to be up in that seam.
Last week, Chris, he threw that ball in the seam to Hooper.
Yeah.
Made a nice catch, and he ran a little bit, but it was a nice throw. If we had a young athletic tight end, Chris, if you watch the defense that they were in, that could have been a touchdown. The tight end an athletic young tight end probably could have taken that ball to the house. Like when Gronk was out there, that particular play, Gronk would have took that to the house.
A guy like Atlanta has. Guy like Pitts.
A guy like Atlanta has would take that to the house. Yes. Yeah.
Let me ask you something.
Throw last week. Yes.
Is tight end something you should be thinking about in this trade situation? In this
No, Chris, I'll tell you why. Because there's just so many tight ends every year in the draft. It's like receiver. There's tight ends in every draft, Chris, that become good NFL tight ends. You saw the kid the other night for Green Bay. You and I both liked him in the draft. I think he went in the second round, that kid Kraft. He had 143 yards receiving the other night.
I know. So not
those
something
guys are in every draft, Chris. Every draft.
So before we go, then talking about the trade deadline a little bit, just a little, offensively, because a lot's been talked about on the defense. Pass rush, this kind of thing.
Figure, do you go get a running back? I don't know.
You could certainly use one.
Right? I mean, you got Jennings as your third running back. I mean, you probably could.
And this is the week you have to be permanent with it now with the practice squad.
So I don't know if you get one. I don't know. I don't know if there's any out there. Whatever.
I mean, a guy like Ford for Cleveland, somebody like that you can bring in.
Yep.
I know the Jets. I don't know if the Jets would trade in the division and get Breece Hall.
I don't think they would trade him to you. No.
So it's something to look at. But how about wide receiver? This week it was floated around about Brian Thomas Jr. You knew I was going to ask you about this.
So I'll give up a first. I give up a third, a fourth. Yeah, I'd give a huge package for
one
him.
Of your kids.
Yeah, maybe. I give up. No, I give up a big package for him, Chris, and I don't give a shit. Your drafts suck anyways. What? Keon White, what was he? Second round, third round pick, another blown pick. What? These guys all suck that you pick. Your third round wide receiver you took last year stinks. He's a bust. That kid Williams never going to be an top flight NFL receiver. So you wasted another draft pick. So if you're going to give up a first, a third, a fourth, maybe they don't all going to be in the same draft. I have no problem giving that up, Chris. if you can get a guy like Brian Thomas Jr., because Brian Thomas Jr. puts you in the Super Bowl discussion.
Oh yeah, absolutely. He's a difference maker. He's
Oh,
you Joe. You talked about the sacks last week. Talked about Campbell. Okay,
Mm-hmm.
you put Brian Thomas Jr. on this team. May's not sitting there holding that ball anymore. That
No.
ball's out.
Nope.
But this
Because that
that
dude's open.
Patriots. I think this just happened about 4 hours ago. Patriots had veteran Dearness Johnson to run a back room. Did we catch that? It just
who
came
did they
up.
bring? Who did they bring in?
Dearness Johnson.
I don't even know who that is, Chris. Who is it?
Yeah, I think they signed him off a practice squad, of somebody's practice squad.
Okay.
I'm
Just
pretty
throwing
sure
that
that's
out.
what
Just
that
saw
was.
that.
No, yeah. Yeah, it's a more depth. It's a depth
Chris,
piece.
they signed a safety off the Dolphins practice squad and made him and activated him today.
Yeah,
too.
talking about Johnson, 29, came in as a rookie with Cleveland out of South Florida in 2019. He played with the Browns through the 22 seasons, 5'11", 205 pounds, signed with Jacksonville unrestricted. He's one of these journeyman guys. So we'll see. I mean, we'll see, how that goes. But pay attention to that. But the keys to victory, like we said, Mark, right? Okay, got to run the ball, got to stay behind, stay in front of the sticks. Drake Maye set protection well, and let's find the open holes in that zone, yeah?
Yeah, absolutely. Listen, if we do that, Chris, we should be 7-2. There's no reason why we shouldn't be 7-2.
Well, I'm a little
concerned. Do that.
Well, I'm a little concerned on the other side of the ball, and we're going to talk about that on the other side. But this portion of Pat's preview was presented by Corso Law Group, Arizona's leading criminal and traffic law firm. CorsoLawGroup.com. Allow us to be your voice. When we come back, going to talk just about that defense and the keys to victory. No flipping.
No one ever thinks they will be in need of a criminal or traffic lawyer, but things happen. Corso Law Group is Arizona's leading criminal and traffic law firm. Call or go online to CorsoLawGroup.com and talk with these expert attorneys.
Yeah, young quarterback, great running back. We knew they were going to try to get to the run game early and often. And I'm just so proud of how our defense plays, our defensive line in particular. Durden, Barmore, Milton, Tonga, these guys are eating double teams, ripping off blocks, making tackles. And when they do that, it really puts a lot of ease on my job being a second-level player. And I'm just really proud of how they continue to grind out the run game and get the run stopped. We have a room full of guys that view themselves as impact players, view themselves as game-changing players, and that's where it starts. If you don't believe that you're going to be a game-changing player, you never will be. So we have a room full of guys that want to go out there, make plays, want to help this team win. And we're just going to continue to come together, mesh together, and try to be the best defense we could be.
That was Robert Spillane after the game against Cleveland last week, talking about his defense. And yesterday on Corso and Catone, we discussed some of the slow start. Again, though, allowing the team down the field to score and then clamping down after that. We're trying to scratching our head, trying to figure out what to make of that, why. But when I look now at this week, and by the way, he mentioned Tonga. I got to tell you, if I give out my midseason grades.
Oh, yeah.
Okay. That was one of those guys that I was excited about when we picked him up in the offseason.
You were.
Because I knew, how the hell are we going to stop the run? We have no size on the defensive line. Not Milton Williams, not Bondmore, not any of these guys. Well, this guy showed up and he's shown out, and he's played really, really well. He's in the backfield a lot. He gets square a lot. He doesn't get, he just doesn't stay blocked. And so he's got a great grade, and so doesn't Marcus Jones, and who they locked up this week. They re-signed him to an extension, 3-year extension, and I'm sure it was a team-friendly deal, or else why the hell would they be talking to him now without an agent? Come on, guys. You got to have an agent. You got to have an agent. Don't just walk into that. New England loves that. So, yeah, we'll talk to you. No agent. Come on in. Come on in. Let's sit down. Let's talk,
At least call Corso. Something.
Yes. Come on, Anyway, now
being in one of those rooms negotiating a contract, you'd be beating them up, didn't you?
Oh yeah. Come on, let's go. We're leaving. We'll go. We're not. You know, that's a joke. Imagine me with Tom Brady taking all those discounts. I'd lose my mind.
You would have lost your mind. Lost your mind.
How are they going to handle this week? You know, we talked about the issues that this team has of getting to the quarterback, you know, not getting to the quarterback with 4. At some point, you're going to have to solve that problem. Now, let's just assume Penix plays. Let's assume Penix is playing. Let's assume London's going to play. They're full. Yeah. This team scares me, Mark. This Atlanta offense bothers me because not that I think Penix is going to get out and run or anything, but it bothers me because we're our weakest in the middle of the damn field. Now, we gave him props for playing well last week, and that's fine. Judkins went out early, though, in that game.
He did.
And now you have Bijan Robinson. You have Pitts. You have London, who makes a living in the middle of the field. I'm a little concerned. You?
Yeah, but if you can, even if you got to put some pressure packaging, Chris, and do some blitzing, you can force Penix into turnovers. So that's the first thing. He will turn the ball over if you can create enough pressure on him, Chris. He's done it in games already this year. The other thing is, so you and I talked about yesterday on Corso Catone. Do the Patriots have the number 1 run defense in the league? Well, that might get tested this week with Bijan Robinson. But one of the things that this team does different, Chris, than a lot of the other teams we've faced this year, they do a lot of zone running, scheme running. And you can explain that to our viewers and listeners. But they're not running the same running plays that we are, Chris.
No, I mean, they're running to an area. So, you know, what you see, you know, and you guys have seen out there, you've seen the breakdown on this West Coast style kind of run where, you know, you're taking your line, you're sliding your line, you're bringing somebody back across on the backside to take care of the backside defensive end so they can't crash down. So you usually take a wing or an H or somebody sitting right behind that tackle or a tight end in motion and take care of that backside. Meanwhile, the rest of the line slips over to one side of the field or a zone, an area. So you're kind of leaving some guys unblocked on one area and you block it into a different area. And what you allow that, what happens is, Joe, you mentioned why isn't a couple weeks ago, you mentioned why isn't Trevion Henderson better and, you know, running to contact. Well, it allows your running back to pick a gap. It creates a lot of good double teams and things on that play side, zone running style, where now the back can choose. Is this gap? Is it going to be this gap, or this gap that I'm getting through? And it takes a patient runner and it takes a good explosive runner into the hole. Bijan Robinson is all of those things and more, you know, when he decides to hit the hole. So, yeah, I mean.
This is a different type of a running scheme, Chris, than we have faced the last few weeks.
And what it requires is some good linebacking play. It requires guys to fill to make your defensive line right.
All the stuff we kind of struggle with.
Right. So as long as you have Tavai, you're okay.
Hey, listen, he'll get there. He'll go sideline to sideline for you, Chris.
That's what's making me nervous about this, is exactly what Mark's talking about. Is the zone style running, is Spillane going to be able to get? Because, look, we've seen it happen. We watch teams when they try to get to the edge. It's not a 2-yard loss. It's not a 1-yard gain. It's a 5-6 yard gain because our backers are late. They're just not athletic enough to get out there, to get sideline to sideline. Logan Wilson, let's go get him in a trade from Cincinnati, Mark. You know, he's a guy that can help us. He's getting less playing time over there.
Yeah, you like him, Chris.
So that's going to be an issue. It's something to watch, and then it's also going to be an issue. What's Pitt's going to do, and what's London going to do in the middle of the field? If our backers have to spill out and cover them, they have a hard time picking guys up in space.
Yeah, they do.
Maybe they go with what they did last week. To what your point was, what did you see us do last week? to help in that area.
So last week, Chris, when they lined Fannin up wide or put him in motion, there was a corner on him. That was an adjustment after that opening drive.
Davis.
They then put Carlton Davis on him and or somebody else, but it was most of the time it was Davis lining up across from him. And you even could see Davis, Chris, on some plays pointing and dictating to the defensive backs. No, you get him. I'm on him. Like he's direct. He was telling them, I got Fannin. So it was a conscious decision by the defense. No, you're gonna go with him, because after that first drive, Chris, I think they knew they were gonna have a problem if they didn't. Yeah. So that was an adjustment they made. They didn't do that on the opening drive.
So we're going to have to see more of that this week, because the keys to victory on the defensive side, you're going to have to get there with 4. You're going to have to figure out how you match up with Pitts in the middle of the field.
Oh, that's that.
And, you know, and you got to.
And Robinson, Chris, is good in the run, is in the passing game too.
Yeah.
Robinson slips out of the backfield and he's gone.
And who's covering him?
You saw what New Orleans was doing with the running back out of the backfield.
I have a feeling that, I'd love to see how they can spy that with Marcus Jones a little. I want to see if I know he's undersized. I get it. But I think I'd like to see that matchup a little bit and see how they can use his speed, Marcus Jones, to match up with Robinson slipping out of that backfield. Especially when you're in a 10 personnel with a 2x2 or 3x1, and who's got the back? Who's got the back that slips out? Who's got the back that bubbles? Let's see if that's going to be.
I'll make a prediction.
Yeah.
Atlanta will score on the first drive.
That's a good one. Now let's see if they can solve that problem. We'll go to the keys to see what we can get done on the defensive side of the ball, and maybe our safeties. Hawkins is starting to play. He's playing better every week. So let's see if he can continue his good play. But Pat's preview was presented by Corso and Catone, the real deal, New England Field, Saturdays, noon Eastern. Hey, we got B's and C's, Catone's comments, and we're going to break down this Falcons game next Saturday. So make sure you tune into that. But we come back, want to go in the coach's room, coach's corner, and Sunday spread, make a little money, all that and more coming up.
Mark, I'm serious. I think I lost my mind.
Certainly, it was an exciting show.
I want Murray. That's it.
What is wrong with you?
Get him on this damn show.
You lost your mind tonight.
That's all I have to say.
Lost your mind.
What are you writing now?
So I'm working over here. You're talking about nonsense. I'm working.
That's why we are the real deal New England Field. It's going to be real.
Back in with more Pats Nation. All right, let's get into the coach's room, guys. Coach's corner, Joe.
Coach's corner.
His demeanor in halftime was, you could tell that, he was calming us down and knew that we were good. And, just classic, Coach McDaniels drive. I mean, he's just, dialing it up and, multiple times and getting guys open and really making it easy for me. So, he's done his whole life, and, I feel like he's, put on the surf speed offensive coordinator. So it's fun to, be in the headset with him.
Talk about whose offense it is. And, Mike Vrabel can mention Ashton Davis like all he wants, but Ashton Davis barely has any experience with the quarterbacks in this league before he got here. He was a young developmental coach when he got here. That's his role. But, the job that Josh McDaniels has done with this offense with Drake Maye, you'd have to be an idiot not to give him a lot of compliments about what we've seen to this point.
Okay, Mark. So are we idiots or do we agree?
Yeah.
With that,
Yeah, well, listen, I don't know, Chris. What do you think?
Listen, I love the job, and I'm talking. I wanted to talk about Josh McDaniels, and especially as it relates to this game, is because, I think I don't think he can get enough credit for this, and also, we talked about, well, whose offense is it? Is he just a kind of a seat filler? Vrabel didn't really want him anyway, and it's all the other guys, and and you and I were fighting against that. We had been fighting against that. We have been, and I think we're right. What a news. What a news.
Now, breaking news.
Mark and I were right. It's he's the offensive coordinator. Okay. He's got the game. He's calling the game. He's setting that tone. Look, you talked about that booty touchdown, right? where, Drake Maye looked great. He set up, he threw the ball, delivered it, dropped it in the basket. Well, it's no coincidence that Garrett was off the field when they dialed that up. I mean, this is what McDaniels does. This is how he, the dude is a fantastic play caller. All right. And he's great.
It's collaboration, according to Vrabel.
Yeah. Well, then tell me why I keep hearing this.
I'm excited where everybody is offensively and kind of, being able to collaborate and come together, provide ideas, allow Josh and, to kind of figure out what he wants to do each and every week, whether that's the run game or play pass, movement series, screens, drop back passes. So I like where that's at. And then I think as far as, the play calling, that's just a feel. That's an understanding of, what we need, where they're at, what they're trying to do.
It's a huge deal.
Trying to marry some concepts together with some of their run actions. And I think he's done a great job. To your question, I like where we are offensively, the collaboration, the communication, the efficiency to put the game plan together, and then Josh's ability to marry off different concepts that we have.
Yeah, so that was Vrabel.
So, Chris,
he's
he's basically saying, though, that the game plan is a collaboration. It's not Josh?
Here's what I'll say. I believe that.
Because he's got to give credit to his buddy he brought in. But I basically called him an intern. That guy, not more than
Ashton.
Ashton. Yeah. All Ashton ever was like an intern. He said he was nothing.
I will agree. If you've been in a coaching room where you're putting together a game plan, it is collaboration. Absolutely. It's the coaches meeting together with the OC, discussing what did they see on film? You got tight ends, you got backs, you got this. You got defensive ends you're watching. I got I got inside, I got outside. What are we seeing so that we can come together and say, all right, this may work, that may work. So yeah, in that sense, during the week, Monday, Tuesday, it is a collaboration. Absolutely. But when Wednesday hits, okay, and the game plan's put in, there's a voice. There's one voice. When there's a guy with the quarterback discussing what he needs to be looking at and seeing, it's one voice, and especially on Sundays. I mean, the stuff that Josh McDaniels did in the third quarter in this game and how he got Trevion Henderson in that Cleveland game out to the edges, Mark, I mean, it's a different level. And we know the other level because we watched Van Pelt. We watched, what's his name? Who were the other clowns that tried? Joe Judge and whoever the hell else they had trying to, Patricia
and Judge. Oh.
So we see what that is. You got a real OC. So, yeah, I mean, let's give this guy the credit he deserves, Mark, right? I mean, in all honesty, I mean.
I think there's still that little bit of animosity when, because at one point, McDaniels was Vrabel's coach at one point in time, way back in, I think it was 2000.
He was on the coaching staff, but he wasn't his particular coach. Yeah.
He was a defensive assistant.
Yeah.
He was there, you know what I mean? So you think there's a little bit of that.
He was a defensive assistant
I don't know, but Josh wasn't there, Chris, when Vrabel was there. He was on that staff.
He was there.
In the early 2000s?
Late, and when Vrabel was still there for like 1 year, where 1 or 2 years where he was a defensive assistant. I don't know. I just think, I sometimes wonder, is it Kraft picked him? It wasn't my guy, and it's an ego thing. And these coaches all have egos. Or is it more? I want to put a message out there to the public and to maybe other teams. Look, we give Vrabel credit for, setting the narrative as it relates to the culture of the team. What he wants people in the inside his building, what he wants his players to believe, and also what he wants other players on other teams to believe. So when free agency comes, they want to come and play for you. So we'll give him a lot of credit there. Should we give him equal credit into saying, I don't want you rating our coaching room. So I'm going to talk about collaboration more than I'm going to talk about individual because I don't need this guy gone next year or the year after. Could that be possible?
I think that one makes more sense because of what he's trying to create. Trying to create another dynasty, you have to do that.
Like, I haven't heard anyone say that but you and I.
Yeah. No, I agree, Chris. It could be that narrative. Listen, we didn't give him credit for what he was doing. And then eventually we were like, well, maybe this is intentional, what he's trying to do, being apologetic for the defense and having guys' backs. And because, number one, you got to build a culture. Number two, you got nobody else. Like, what are you going to do? You can't replace them with anybody. So you're going to have to stroke their ego to get them to play up and play better.
McDaniels was mic'd up last week. And if you get a chance out there, go out and listen to that, pull it up on YouTube or whatever, and listen, and you can see it. You can hear it. He's, okay, man, come on, bring him up, come up on that play where Garrett came off the field and they threw that to Booty. He was come on, 37, come up 37. He's in command of that situation out there.
Yeah. Well, positively.
So, and it's clear that May loves him as an OC. And they got a good chemistry. So this week, Mark, this coaching staff, they're coaching well, and they're gonna have to continue to do that all season long because a lot of what their success they're having is in the coaching room as well as it is what they're seeing out on the field, Mark.
Chris, if Penix and London play this week, your coaching staff on defense is gonna have to have a good week, Chris.
Oh yeah. And that's the team, and that's the side of the ball that I'm most concerned about in the coaching room, simply because you don't have your DC. You're kind of doing it.
And I think people forget, Chris, that the guy that was supposed to help you and design this defense isn't here.
Not here. Terrell Williams is not here. And so you that game plan during the week, that collaboration, when you don't have your point.
Do you think Vrabel's heavily involved in that side of the ball?
I would have to think he is.
Yeah.
Okay, look at it that way, and then we'll get to Sunday spread. So if you think it is a collaboration, okay, and McDaniels isn't really then not having Terrell Williams shouldn't be that big of a deal. Right?
Yeah.
But it is a big deal. And it's a big deal on Monday and Tuesday when you put a freaking game plan in and you need your point man to look at things that you can't see if you're, was it Cool, or whatever his name? If you're that guy and you're just not as experienced. So you can feel that. And that's what I think is happening on first drives and why they're allowing so much is because you don't have your point man.
Yeah. Makes sense.
But Vrabel was a defensive coordinator, and so we'll see. But, coaches are doing well. Let's hope they do. All right, guys, let's try to make some money. You want to make some money?
Come on, Joe. Let's go.
All right, let's go Sunday spread. And he always jumps it on me, so we'll see. Here it is. Okay, Mark. So let's talk about our game. 5.5 points. Patriots are giving up 5.5 points. What say you?
I'm going to say 27-17 Patriots.
Okay. I got them 31-24.
All right.
I think this defense I think our defense is going to struggle a little bit. I think they're going to give up more than 20 points in this game to Atlanta. And again, this is all assuming that Penix plays and London plays.
Yes. Okay?
If those two guys don't play, then I'm looking at more like 34-14.
Yeah, it's a blowout. Yeah.
So I'm thinking 31-24, or 7 point. They're still going to cover that spread, so you could still bet them. All right, Mark, let's give us, please, everybody out there, okay? If you didn't bet the Buffalo game last week after listening to Mark and I, and I implored you to bury that game. And I really hope you listened.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
You did. You were like, Mark, this is a gift.
That was the gift of the year.
That was the gift of the year. I don't think they knew how to set the line, Chris. Vegas was in a tough spot.
They were trying to sneak through that week.
Yeah, they were in a tough spot. Yeah, tough spot.
What do you have? Give us some.
All right, I don't believe I'm going to say this to you, but I'm going to say it.
You're a jerk. I know. All right.
I don't know how Kansas City's favorite in this game on the road. I really don't. I don't.
I think Buffalo's going to blow doors too.
Yeah, I think Buffalo's going to beat Kansas City, and they're going to beat them pretty good. I don't think Buffalo's defense is that good, Chris. I get it. I think that, Ed Olive is out again. He's going to be out for several weeks. He re-injured himself at the beginning of last week's game.
It's a point and a half.
So defensively, I understand Kansas City may score some points on Buffalo, but there's no way Buffalo's losing this game at home, Chris. There is no way after the AFC Championship game again. Buffalo views this as a bigger game than it actually is. It's a regular season game. I think that's how Kansas City views it because Kansas City knows when the money's on the line, it's in January, and we'll take care of them in January. And that's how they view that. But this game to Buffalo means a hell of a lot more than I think that it means to Kansas City in regards to we have to beat this team. I love Buffalo at home getting points, Chris. I really do.
I am shocked that game didn't get moved to Sunday night.
Yeah, I am too. But I don't even know what the Sunday night game is, but
it's Seattle, Washington.
Oh my God, that didn't get flexed out of that position.
Right.
Jesus Christ.
To me, so one of the games I have here, and I can't stand this team, but at some point they got to taper off. Okay. And coming off a loss, 2 losses or whatever it is, Pittsburgh is getting 3 points at home against Indianapolis. Yeah. And I'm still not sold, even though they're 7-1. So I like the points, and I'm taking Pittsburgh in that game. Just because I feel like Aaron Rodgers will find a way to win that game.
Yeah, believe it or not, Chris, that's the other game I like too. I do like Pittsburgh getting points at home.
So
eventually, this Daniel Jones has to come back to reality. What Daniel Jones is doing right now for Indianapolis, that's not Daniel Jones, Chris. I'm telling you right now.
And you're gonna have to explain this. You're gonna have to explain this next line to me. So you got Chicago. It's at Cincinnati, okay, and Cincinnati is underdogs. It's home underdogs, 3 points. I don't think they've played that bad. I get they lost. I understand that they lost to the Jets. I understand that.
Yeah.
And this is one of those games now. Gave you Buffalo last week because this is a tough spot for Vegas. This is a tough game for Vegas because I think they've been so much better with Flacco on this team. Okay. They can score points with this guy. They are not going to lose to Chicago at home. They're not going to do it. And they're getting points at home. And I think they're going to beat Chicago, and I think they're going to beat them handily. I would run sprint to bet that game, that Cincinnati getting 3 at home. You got another one, or are you at that it?
No, I'm going to give you one more, Chris, and this is going to be one you're going to say, what are you, nuts? I think they're coming around. They're playing better football. I like Houston at home against Denver. I don't think Denver's that good.
I don't either. I think they're getting a lot of breaks in these games. I don't think it's crazy. I don't.
Denver's coming up. Houston's coming around. By the way, they got a couple of injuries, and it's allowed them to use the receiver that I liked over the guy we took in the 3rd round, Jalen Noel. Every week is building. Last week was 4 catches, 67 yards. Don't be surprised this week if he's close to 100 yards. That's who I wanted to take in the 3rd round. We passed on him and took the fool. We took Williams. Anyways, just throwing that out there. But I like Houston at home. But I like Houston at home in a tease.
There you go.
I like Houston at home in a tease with Buffalo and Pittsburgh.
And I like you throwing Green Bay there. I would think they're giving up 13.5 at home. Tease that down. But if you're taking that regular line, I'm taking Carolina. I don't like 13.5 there.
And I'm going to give you some. I'm going to give everybody, all our viewers, one other thing. But I know we're against the clock.
It's going to be college, right?
I know we're against the clock. No, it's not. It's Breeders' Cup Day. Breeders' Cup this weekend. Sovereignty just was a late scratch this week. He was going to be the favorite, Billy Mott's horse. I'm going to give you a long shot to make some cash. A long shot for some cash. Take Bobby Baffert's 3-year-old. What the hell's his name? Nevada Road.
There you go. There you go. So remember out there, make sure you're betting for.
And you'll make some money. I'm sorry. Yes, no, Nevada Beach. Nevada Beach is 20-1 morning odds. Nevada Beach, Bob Baffert, Breeders' Cup Classic. Go make some money.
There you go. So bet for want, not for need. The Pats Nation was presented by Corso and Catone. The Real Deal New England Field, Saturdays, noon Eastern. Hey, we're going to have a breakdown of this Falcons game along with Catone's comments and so much more. And come back next weekend, 8 a.m. We're going to have our pregame breakdown of the Patriots-Bucks game. Oh, that'll be a good one. So make sure you're sticking around for that as we are the first pregame show. We are the Pats Nation. Enjoy the game.